Hi, I'm Dr. B, psychiatric nurse practitioner with over 20 years of clinical experience, and I created Choice Mapping. We are in the process of a series about eating disorders, and today's topic is specifically around bulimia nervosa. Bulimia nervosa is very specific to binging and purging. Binging being defined as eating an excessive amount of food within a 2-hour period, and then some sort of compensation. So we often think of it as purging or vomiting food, but it could be laxative, diet pills, fasting, exercise. So it's just some sort of compensation for that binge. Okay, I know I've shared in some other videos that I struggled with this eating disorder as a young, late teens, early 20s, and it was significantly exacerbated by my service in the military. So I know there's lots of service women out there, and service men and women, who really struggle because you are weighed and your evaluations are very specific and tied to how much you weigh. And so this was a big trigger for me. When I was 17 years old, I was sent to Korea. I had to weigh under 140 pounds, and that's really not an ideal weight for me. But it was just, I had to do it. It was part of the process. And at that point is when I resorted to kind of this binge eating and purging type behavior. And I have healed or gone through the process and worked myself through this eating disorder, and I do not meet criteria for bulimia nervosa. But as I discussed in other videos, I still have some of this eating disordered behavior, okay? So bulimia nervosa is one of the most common eating disorders, specifically for young women, college age. And when it gets a hold of you, oftentimes it goes into your whole adult life, even if you're not actively binging and purging kind of that eating disorder behavior and thought process. So I challenge you, if you are struggling with bulimia right now, or if you have in the past, let's get on this non-diet diet, which is a different video, but it's about digging deep and figuring out what those things are. So in bulimia treatment, we talk a lot about triggers. What was your trigger? Why did you have to compensate, or why did you binge? It's really more about why did you binge, right? A lot of people think, oh, well, you just need to stop doing the compensation and you need to get on a healthy diet. But it's more than that. And this is what we talk about in the non-diet diet. We have to dig deep. What is the trigger that causes that person, you, me, to binge, to say forget it, to lose control? And so we have to dig deep to do that. And I truly believe choice mapping can help you do that. So the first part is kind of this thought map. And you can say, okay, what was I thinking? What was going on right before I started my binge? Okay, so not the compensation. Okay, we'll deal with that. That's a behavior. But what actually made you feel like you lost control? What was that feeling? And you put that feeling in the middle of your thought map and you map it out. And you dig deep and you try to figure out why that triggered you so much. And I know what it is for me, and I've done it on myself millions of times probably. But this video is for those of you out there who are struggling with bulimia and you know it. And maybe you're getting professional help. I hope you are. But oftentimes you want this behavior. This is your thing that you are using to kind of control your weight. I'm telling you, it doesn't work long term, and there's all kinds of negative consequences to those things. So get on the non-diet diet, get professional help. Let's figure out what your trigger is, what makes you lose control. So I feel like you need the whole choice mapping process to really get a handle on bulimia. But we have attached a choice opportunity that is specifically about the biology of control. Bulimia, in the midst of binging and purging, you feel out of control. You feel like you've lost control. Oftentimes between those binges, you're on this strict diet and you feel like you're in control. But the moment you lose control is when you that binge purge cycle starts. So this choice opportunity is specifically about kind of how to practice control. And part of practicing control is when you start a binge, not to give up. And this is what happens is as soon as you lose a little bit of control, you say forget it, and then you consume as many calories as you can, and then you do whatever compensation that you do, right? But real control is about stopping your binge right in the middle of it, because you're going to continue to struggle with that. This is going to take some time. So the choice opportunity that's attached is in the description bottom. It can be downloaded for free. This is only a fraction of what you need to work through, okay? This is about the more you practice control, the more control you have. But what I don't want you to do is get into the opposite disorder type thinking, the orthorexia, the anorexia, where it's all about control, and then you're still in that same disordered thinking, right? We do need to practice some more control, practice forgiveness, knowing that control is not about being on this perfect diet in between your binges and purges. And I struggled with this for 10 years. I know what you're going through. And then you lose control and you say, forget it. And you do your compensation. When you really have dug deep and you are starting to get a handle on your bulimia, I can tell you, you can walk away from a binge. And you can say, okay, I know it's a lot of calories, but I'm going to be okay. All right? So bulimia nervosa and anorexia nervosa, which will be in a different video, you really need to get some professional help. You need to really understand choice mapping, which is a cognitive behavioral approach. You've got to change your thinking in order to change your behavior. I believe you can do it. I believe that you are mentally strong.